very important part of export controls are the controls on defense articles, things used for military purposes and space applications. And those items are controlled by the U.S. Department of State under what are called the International Traffic in Arms Regulations, or ITAR for short, ITAR. If they intend to get any kind of export licenses or approvals to export defense articles or defense technology, they have to appoint somebody called an empowered official. And they can appoint one or more empowered officials in every company, but the role of empowered official is pretty much the same. That's the individual employee, and it has to be an employee of the company as opposed to an outside consultant or agent. That employee has to sign off on export license applications, has to sign off on export control documents. So they're responsible for those export controls. I'd say the salaries for empowered officials are very good. They're pretty much in demand, people with those types of skills. But the skills are not easy to come by. This is not the sort of position where you might get out of college or get out of the service and decide, hey, I want to become an empowered official. It's something you work up to. The people I've known who have had that title, and I myself have had that title in previous positions, it's the culmination, in effect, of years of kind of like working your way up through different skills and different levels of responsibility. In order to get into it, it helps to have a college degree. A college degree in business or in contracts would be most helpful. Sometimes it helps to have a law degree, although it's not required. But that type of background to understand regulations, understand how laws are interpreted and applied, very important type of background to have. As is international business and contracts, because in that position as empowered official, you're going to be dealing a lot with contracts and international business. How do you become an empowered official? One, get into the export field. And by export, be export controls and documentation. You can go to work for a company, go get a job in their export section or the traffic section or documentation section. That's where a lot of people start. Or sometimes in the import or customs department. And that way you get into their international export-import documentation, traffic, and controls arena. And once you're in there, then the next step is to learn the different rules and regulations dealing with export controls. In learning about export controls and in learning where the jobs are and where the opportunities are, and even where the information is on how they work, it really helps to get involved with what I would call the export-import control community. And that community, how you get involved with that is through different trade associations. Myself, I'm involved with no less than 4 different trade associations. Some of the ones I can mention, at least locally in Southern California, would be the Foreign Trade Association, which is the leading one of its type in Southern California. Nationally, there are some other associations which deal with export and import controls and regulations. And the ones that come to mind would be the International Compliance Professionals Association. Another one is the American Association of Exporters and Importers. And then one very specific to ITAR and Department of State controls is what's called the Society for International Affairs, based in Washington, D.C. The members of that organization are people who are empowered officials and deal with ITAR controls. And one thing that the Society for International Affairs offers is actually training on export regulations, specifically ITAR regulations. They offer basic training, advanced training, and twice annual seminars at which they get different government officials come out to talk about the latest and greatest in the area of ITAR export controls.